Hello, everyone. My name is Robert McDowell, poet, and I'd like to welcome you to this second podcast. I want to invite you all to pull up a chair and spend a very pleasant few minutes with me and with all of us as we talk about conflict. I recently gave a talk at a Center for Spiritual Living in which the topic I was asked to speak about was conflict, how to resolve conflict peacefully. Afterwards, I was approached by a young mother with her son who was 9 years old, and she wanted to tell me the story of her son's bullying, and she did, and her son shared his views. He had been hectored by 3 older kids at school, and this had been going on for a while. They often just verbally abused him. They frightened him. Sometimes they pushed him. A couple of times they pushed him to the ground. Sometimes they hit him in the arm. They took his lunch, and it was not a good situation. Typical bullying at a young age at elementary school. But she told me how her son one day did something rather remarkable. He, rather than run away, and rather than wait to simply endure another assault, he approached them on his own initiative, and he began talking to them. He began asking them questions. He engaged them in conversation. And first one softened a bit and began to talk with him, then another, and then a third. Pretty soon, all 4 of them were talking as friends. And that's how the experience ended. The bullying after that ended. And in fact, they even, in a way, took him under their wing. They were older boys, a couple of years. That is an example of courageous dealing with conflict. How do you get out of a situation without getting killed peacefully, so that everyone actually feels good at the end? It is difficult to do, but it's not impossible, as this boy proved. Well, the story, I was very proud of him, very proud of his mother. But the story then, it reminded me of the story from my own childhood. I was about 10, and I was riding my bike home from a long day of roaming all over town. And I was coming down, I just turned down this long street that ran adjacent to my elementary school. And just as I came around, I saw 2 older Hispanic boys standing at the gate to the recess field, the playing field. And that was also right next to the street. And they saw me immediately. We kind of made eye contact from a distance. And I was filled with fear. A little tiny background, my town in Southern California at that time, there had been several incidents between Hispanics and Caucasians. There was tension, there had been fights, some injuries. Fortunately, in those days, no shootings. But there had been a couple of knife wounds. I was all conscious of this, of course, keenly so. I was terrified, because I saw the boys, they were sort of laughing to each other, and they were picking up rocks. Well, I thought to myself, okay, what's going to happen is I'm going to ride right by them, and they're going to pummel me with rocks. If I fall off my bike, they may take the bike may be broken, they may beat me up even further. None of these scenarios were really very appealing to me. So, what could I do? It's funny, it never occurred to me to just turn around and go another way. That didn't happen. What I thought was, maybe I can speed up and go by them really fast. And if I could get to the end of the block, I could do a quick hard right and a quick hard left, and I would be in the Ramona Convent grounds, which were very lush and big at that time. They're all condominiums now. But I knew many hideouts, having played a lot on those grounds. And I thought, well, if I can get into the Ramona Convent grounds, I'll be safe. But the chances, I thought, were not good that I was going to get by them uninjured. So then something remarkable happened for me. Without even thinking about it, I slowed down. I did not speed up, I slowed down, and I rode right up to them. And I stopped, and I smiled through my fear, and I introduced myself, and I said, hi, I go to school here, and where do you go to school? I started asking them questions. Where do you live? And they started talking to me. And we sat down on the ground, and we all talked for like 30 minutes, until I said, I do have to go home. I'm supposed to be home. And that was fine. I got up, I got on my bike. I do confess that as I started to pedal away, I thought, okay, now are they going to pummel me with rocks? And so I was fearful. But I looked back, and they were smiling and waving. And I waved to them, and we parted on friendly terms. And when I saw them occasionally, we were on friendly terms. That was the resolution of a possible conflict that required what? Communication. Sometimes, and being afraid is fine, but we have to sometimes overcome that fear and offer friendship, conversation, understanding. Well, that's my little anecdote about conflict resolution in a peaceful way. I've been reading, friends, this wonderful poet, an Egyptian writer and poet, named Amira al-Wasif, and I apologize in advance if I'm not pronouncing the name properly. She's a wonderful poet, and I picked up her book, The Rules of Blind Obedience. And I would love to share just a poem with you, if I may. And I might add that the poems include these wonderful drawings. That looks a lot like my cat, actually. But it's a very interesting book, and she is a very a surprising writer. She writes both in her native language and in English. And I recommend this book to anyone who loves poetry and would like to experience a new poet. Here's a wonderful drawing of a woman and an elephant. And in fact, I'll read this poem. It's called Dancing with an Elephant. Imagine there is a black elephant creeping on your jelly belly while you are taking a nap after a very long day. The elephant moves his glossy fingers trying to fish out some of your best memories. You lay on your dear bed doing your best to keep breathing. Imagine you try to touch his creamy eyelashes as a way to steal more songs from his chest. The huge animal agrees to make an unconditional deal with you. You cower in a secret corner, holding your colorful pen for drawing your masterpiece. The elephant feels shy. He directs all his energy into your artwork. Your soul window reveals more magic. You play with the animal, both of you wearing an eternal smile. Imagine you decide to dance with your elephant, throwing jokes through his giant ears. The more you succeed in making him laugh, the more pleasure he gives. Each of you climbs the highest candy mountain. You love the feeling. You long badly to repeat this experience. You behave automatically without wondering what if the elephant got angry in the midst of the game. That's a whimsical poem, but it's also very spiritual. I love all of the imagery. And this poet, Amira, is an amazing imagist writer. I recommend her work. She can be found on Facebook, and I believe you can find this at Amazon and Barnes & Noble. She has other books besides The Rules of Blind Obedience. And again, take a look. And thank you for joining me today. If you are enjoying this experience, please think about becoming a member or a paid member to help things keep going. And please share this with your friends and your family and people you think might enjoy it, might find something useful in it. I thank you for being with me, and I wish you health and peace, and most of all, love. And may your higher power bless you and be with you always. Thank you.